Ebusuafo ende me the story bremo. Na story no me mamoti ase say me be ready ye ema obi ehu say maame bi ebufuye. Ena Methodist are sorry them. If you don't know the story, the whole thing they say Methodist are sorry them. Ena maame bi eje microphone a waka say bishops any asofo mpanyifo nyina no omo ya kromfo. Na de ntia maame ne ka sa ene say according to the story no omo tua tithes. Na asem a ye ka ne say obi a wentua tithes bia no say ahotre esi ne so. Ana say nebusi ni bi wo a asori no emma mbeboa nipa kro no senia ebia nipa kro no behwe sa asori no beboa no just because on tua tithes. Me betena ha etrem say for me it is wrong. Me mam from the Bible the history of tithe and what tithe was meant to do. Inti sende asori Orthodox churches asori akesi no still have this mentality about tithe. It's sad. I have gone through the comments and I've seen a lot of people agreeing with me. Na obi aba betro bibi, and I want to use this opportunity to speak because in as much as Mama Mwati said, in as much as I like talking about politics, no. Adia bakwa mesanso epe amin fendi agro eye Bible munsem. I am a Bible believing Christian. I like to talk about the Bible. I study the Bible every single day. I don't joke with the Bible. Enti se mema ye video no bia ba be kan bibia fa Bible ho ade me minim no e wo se me so me de tudwa. Things I am really passionate about aside religion, aside politics, I'm really passionate about religion. Okay, I've told you already. Now, obia kan bibi na me hu ne say a lot of people eka sansem way. Now I'm saying Ghana for bebre na sorry eka sansem. No, we are going to do a little exercise. Now comments way free. Eye ejini mbwate me hu say what I comment pa asem a wakan ne say bro, going to church is useless because Bible is a storybook. I quit going to church 1969. Jesus Christ never existed. Wise up. Inti abrantie we a friend no eye ejini mbwate asem a wakan and say Jesus Christ want na wi asem da. Bible no a storybook. And I say this, I continuously say this, say, Obi biara walk a Bible, no a storybook. No, the first question I ask the person is, say, have you read the Bible in its entirety? It's a simple question. I've heard that Ghana, a lot of people say that. And the Bible no babe that day before. A lot of people don't know, say, yeah, can Christosum na Christosum kra ewo e bibi maimu sa brofo ne kraba. In fact, Christosum na ye kan kra no. E bibi for and abrofo Christian free. It is history documented and it is there. One day I'm going to spend time and I'm going to talk about that. Abrofo eba, especially Ghana, in the 15th century. Till abrofo ba Ghana in the 15th century. It is documented as far back as 1st century or the 4th century. In fact, if you go to Ethiopia, okay, and you search in the 4th century, you realize that our main religion was Christianity. That was after 1,100 years and sana brofone baby mine so. Inti obi biara we ka trel say Christosum no e ya brofone de breye no. It is a lie because Ethiopia e bibi mine. Let me just do that, and I'm going to, me say idea way idea. I am very passionate about it. I have read about it. I have done my history on the Bible. I've done my history on the figure Jesus Christ, and because of the things I have learned, so we'll be banner about the culture say Jesus Christ fake. Jesus Christ onye no kwaria. The question you ask the person is, have you done your research? Because if you do your research, you realize that indeed there was a man called Jesus Christ, and you realize that indeed the Bible is real. It's a simple thing. Just do your research. Once you do your research, you are going to understand what I'm saying. Now, my MBs are Google, just a simple question, right? In the 4th century, okay? In the 4th century, let's ask Google a simple question. What was the main religion in Ethiopia in the 4th century? mo amoka say abrofo no ene di Christosum ebreye no. Learn something today. Abrofo ne ba no ni yenim Christosum de da. Eni o say then Christianity became the main and state religion of Ethiopia, the Aksumite Empire, in the 4th century. Ye can 4th century abrofo ne ba 15th century. 4th century, any 15th century. What it means is that 1,100 years after abrofo ba ebibiman so no, na Ethiopia for omo main religion was our mine so no. Eye Christianity. Inti enya obroni ene di Christosum eba ebibiman asase so. Ye ni enim ye Christo de da. Obi be bisa say, oh, na say ye de ye wo Ghana. And I want every single person say, oh, ye Enkrani, oh, ye Ghani, oh, ye Asantini. Go and do your research and ask yourself, say, oh, tribe no, during the 4th century, possibility no, na ehifana na wo tribe no more. I just want you to do that research for me. I just want obia wotie me bia no me see ende ye history. Just do that research for me. In the 4th century, 15th century was 1,100 years after the 4th century. 15th century na brofo ne bae. But in the 4th century, ni enim Christo. Ewo Ethiopia. Me say asema obeka ne say, and say Ethiopia nye Ghana. Abrofo no mo bae Ghana no mo bae. Ende de me say kona koye wo research say wo ye Nkrani, wo ye Eveni, wo ye Asantini. Koye wo research say during the 4th century, now a tribe no, omo migrated because in crime for AGD say omo ye part of the Gad and the Dan tribes of Israel. Right? In crime for that's what they believe. The Evers, orally, they believe that they are the lost tribe of the Levites. Okay? Into a migration. Obie believe say at a point in crime for believers into utie in crime for njuma ye kano wogbejeke ijeke woje shon asebo mo kan say onye Israel kre Egypt kre Ethiopia ke Sudan woje shon onze ya na in crime for to sanyum no na tre so omo free Israel eko Egypt eko Ethiopia eba Sudan ansa no be piem wo Ghana me say kona koye o research ne bisa say in the 4th century no o tracy in crime for lineage as that time na hefa na no mo Kona koye research na say Evers for in the 4th century Utresia and hefana no more. Kona koye research ne bisa say Asante for account for in the 4th century Utresia hefana no more. And then you know that they knew about Christianity before abrofone de Christosum ebreying. Into obi biara obeka tell say obroni ene de Christosum eba betre bibini bia no we twa wontro oboa. In fact, Yesu Christo kra no. De na wokowu na obi kokosia ni way no. Go and do that research. Ni bakona wokokosia Yesu Christo ne cross no. Kona koyo research se ni bakono no free oye bibini Africa ni. There's a proper history. Okay, if you go to Ethiopia, there is a proper history of how Christianity in the 4th century no ebe than the main religion over there. And if you read the Bible, Philip, you see Philip kokoshia obi, okoshia Ethiopia ni bi. Muni amoka Bible, no read the Bible now be hu. O say Philip kokoshia a eunuch. Na eunuch no sa time no na wo hwe Ethiopia hema sika so. And Philip was that time reading Isaiah 53. And if I'm not mistaken, or I'm not misquoting the Bible, Isaiah 53 was talking about the the Messiah. Yen Christopher, you say the Ethiopian, me say the Ethiopian man was reading about Isaiah 53, and Isaiah 53 no was talking about the Messiah. Yen Christopher, you say Christ once na now okay. Now go to Ethiopia and go and read their history books. They talk about a man by a friend Bacho. Today we are learning. Eyanan krofo kasa asem no. Ene Christosum enye ebi before ya som no. Ene Christosum abrofo na de bae. Ene Jesus Christ he never existed. Ene Christianity Bible is fake. And then me break it nyamani ni nada. So you know that all you have to do is to do your research. All you have to do is to read. You have faith and see that hey, Obi a waka tell say Christosum ye fake bia no nim de waka. There is a man, okay? There was a man known as, if I'm not mistaken with the name, Metremo. There was a man known as Uko Ethiopia. There was a man known as Bachos. Okay? Bachos, the Ethiopian eunuch. Ethiopia for history wo etre say ono enodi Christosum sa time no. Ono ma Christosum eba beji din ewo Ethiopia. And that man in the history of Ethiopia no ono na Bible nim no Philip ekokoshia no desert so a no wo kan Yesu Christo asema no. The Ethiopian eunuch. Into ukoko type the Ethiopian eunuch any. The Ethiopian eunuch, also known as Jandarada, also identified as Simon Bacchus, is a figure in the New Testament of the Bible and an early Christian saint. But, you know, very simple. Now, I just wanted... I need time to talk about these things, okay? I really need time to talk about these things. Bible things, research works, and then I really need time to talk about it. But I've given you an assignment. Obi biara yana said maka wa habia no meboano. Just go and do your research and then you come back to me. But let's get to this comment. I say going to church is useless because the Bible is a storybook. Now, how do you know? I just want to ask a simple question. How do you know that Kwame Nkrumah existed? Yemfa say, "O wawo akola wawo ba." Na wo ba. Catcher said, "Da mate say obi ba wiase me fe ne Kwame Nkrumah. Da moboa Kwame Nkrumah moboa. Kwame Nkrumah no ye fake. Insem mo ka fa Kwame Nkrumah de minjin di no ye fake. E dia na wo de betre wo ba na wo be hu ne say indeed Kwame Nkrumah exist here. Kwame Nkrumah nsa no ejuma. Right? Yembra na Kwame Nkrumah ti ase no. Omo ano ni omo nam. Ensem bia wo mo trofan ne ho. Verifiable meboa. Yes. The history of Jesus Christ has been verified on countless occasions. The history of Jesus Christ. It has been verified. Baby ye tre say Yesu Christo bae owu ye dini sie ye. All those places, they have been verified scientifically to the point where even some scientists can't even understand. Just recently, right? Let me show you something. Recently, something was discovered. You found the Shroud of Turin. I remember the Shroud of Turin. Now, that time, no, you could see will be a entomana ye de katane hono. Yes, the Shroud of Turin. Recently, it was discovered. And now, Omuhu say, the Shroud of Turin, they cover Jesus Christ. No, you are going to see the figure. Ubehu clearly the face of the person. Ubehu say, intumana ye de katane hono. Utumu say, ni image crowd draw on to manim. And this Shroud of Turin, no, if it's fake, it can be taken through a scientific, procedure to know whether it is fake or not. Oma yasade ne hu said dabi, sa Shroud of Turin ni real. Mami read in trail or say the Shroud of Turin is a 14-foot linen cloth bearing the fifth negative image of a crucified man believed by many to be the burial shroud, a shroud of Jesus Christ. Housed in Turin, Italy, it shows injuries matching gospel accounts. So this is the Shroud of Turin. And I don't know the time. Recently, I met once, but I don't know the time it was done. But what I'm saying is that, you see, in order for you to know, or in order for people to get to know that indeed Jesus Christ existed, Obia Samoka, and the Jesus was fake. Jesus was fake. The simple question you ask yourself, say, what was the main message of Jesus Christ? Una woka say Jesus fake. Because one for we near huno. And the Bible is a storybook. And I've told you, say accounts in the Bible, and they have been verified by archaeological evidence. You know, there's a reason why people believe that Egypt is an ancient country. And why is Egypt an ancient country? Because of archaeological evidence. Enyama bi wo man so awon to me ntiase. Enyama ni bi te say the pyramids. Ube bisa say ban say na pyramids ni ba be see ho. Obi antiase this age. But ye tell say a ancient country. Indeed, evidence. I hope you understand. Nkrofo bi gidi say, I don't know the tribe, nkrofo bi gidi say obi ba betena asase so your friend asebu amenfi. Omu gidi say no ye giants. Edian no mu gidi say indeed giants bi ba betena ha. Eye archaeological evidence. Say wo be hu footprints ka kesi bia ye tre say papa no embra na wo nante no e na no create sa footprints no. Archaeological evidence. Enti adia ba ko ye de tre say Kwame Nkrumah oba bisa se Kwame Nkrumah o existe ya ade ba kwa ye de betre se Kwame Nkrumah existe ya archaeological evidence bebi ana Kwame Nkrumah bia na ote ninja padie bi ni nyama bi. Today all those archaeological evidences are there to show that indeed someone existed in this world and your friend Jesus Christ. Accounts are there. Every single place that Jesus Christ or call ye bia, you see accounts, you get to know of accounts written about him. Say indeed the man existed. But dear, you want to believe that Jesus Christ didn't exist? No problem. Dear me bisane say, what was his message? Yesu Christo bana wo ba ye ni nano. His message was love. Enti se wan existe krana. Message na wo preach no. Was it a false message? Is he not right? Wasn't it the truth? Inti ya omo aka ene Yesu Christo kra wan existe no at what end? Okay, wan existe. Inti enene tresense enyama ye train say Yesu Christo e tre ye ni na ye mbongo ana. You are telling me the Bible is not real. What is the Bible preaching? What is the Bible telling us? What is the main story in the Bible? From the beginning to the middle to the end. What is the main story in the Bible? The main story in the Bible. Donyankopon, love your neighbor and love yourself. If you want to break the Bible down, that is entirely what the Bible is preaching. Inti by their fruits, you know. So person who say edua bi ye edua pa, edua na do be who say edua pa. Eso aba na ye di no. Eni na di who say edua we ye edua pa. By the fruit you know. So it's not like Jesus Christ teachings, no na Jesus Christ tre say mon konko chi nipa bi nku no. Na ende ya ba be ka say Jesus ye fake no aka say okay ebia nsem no preaching nsem no tre na ye nsem bonenti. I don't know whether you get my point. But the American, if you want to know, say someone existed. If you want to know, say Bibi, na real la. Very simple. One, archaeology. Enyama wo ho e kire se nipa ko ne ba na oba ha oyewe ye be hu sa nyama na ehu ni say indeed na real. Two, message anipa ko ni preach ye. Message awo preach ye no, owu ye na chi no message ni wu ya na message ni to aso. That is how you know that the person indeed existed. Kwame Nkrumah wu ye, ende yengu so anka ne message. Ne message ne gusua e ya life. Said the African can manage his own resources. The African can manage his own affairs. It tells you that indeed someone existed and a friend of Kwame Nkrumah. Yesu Christo, Jesus Christ, by what was his message? And the message, is it not traveling far? Is it still not working? It is an evidence enough to tell you that Jesus Christ existed. And then I now preach. Assembly and now walking. And for people who have read the Bible, and the funny thing is that there were even before Jesus Christ came, there were a lot of people who claimed to be the messiahs. It's in the Bible. Answer na Jesus Christ. Obano. There were people who claimed to be the Messiah, but some crofoni wu ye no. Ena omu followership ni na wu ye. Saa nkrofo ni wuye no. Ena omo mu di omo echi ni nyina no epeteye. But Jesus Christ. Embra ye ka se Bible nim in the New Testament after say wo. Look at what the disciples did. That means they had a conviction. They saw the man and they believed in the man. There was this strong conviction. And so some of them went to other countries and they established churches over there. One of the first churches to be established in the whole world was established in Egypt, an African land. Inti anonso mo amoka se Africa abrofo na de buy no. You don't know what you are saying. Read the Bible. I think it was Mark who established a church in Alexandria, a town in Egypt. Let me search for it. Who established the church Alexandria? That was one of the first churches after the death of Jesus Christ. Saint Mark, yes, Saint Mark the apostle and evangelist established the church in Alexandria around 55 to 61 AD. So, in the first century, that is the first century, that is 1,400 years after Ena Abrofono. In fact, search Abrofono krana, Northern Europes and the like. Ubehuni say, Christosum ekokopie wamoso in 800 AD. 800 AD. That is about the 8th century. 800 AD. But in the 4th century or in the 1st century, not Christosum wa Africa de da. And this is the research. It is there. Records no wo. Saint Mark, the apostle and evangelist, established the church in Alexandria around 55 to 61 AD as one of the 70 apostles. He is considered the founder of the Coptic Orthodox Church, where he served as its first bishop, established the school of Alexandria, and was martyred in 68 AD. Mark, these people laid down their lives for Jesus Christ because they saw him. And the evidence is there. Say, indeed, Mark yekuno. Omo ana omo di Yesu Kristo echi ni na. Omo nsa no nnwuma wo ho. Omo nso ehu Yesu. Etro ne ho nsem na oni omo nam, oni omo didi. Nti obi biara ya na oka se ene Yesu he never existed. Yesu never existed. Na asem wa make can say read your history books. Some of these countries, Egypt, Ethiopia, they still have their records. They still have their history. So for them, they have empirical evidence to show that indeed the man existed. Alexandria is in Egypt, 55 to 61 AD. That was when the first church was established. After the death of Jesus Christ. African soil, African land. Don't let anyone deceive you. Say, ane abosonsom no, ene ye yen ebi before yesum, na Yesu Kristo dia abroni na debre yen oboa mese. Ebibiman yasase so. Ebibi asase so we. Na onim Yesu Kristo, aji Yesu Kristo atum de dada. Ansa na broni ba behu Yesu. Broni behu Yesu no, ena onu mo nkokọ repackage no. Ena ode betre yen asede abru Yesu ni free ne ho. Broni onim hwefa Yesu ho. Before yen nim Yesu no, over 800 years ansa na brofo no ebehu Yesu. And it is record eda ho. Don't let anyone deceive you. Mama wati asye, and I've given you 3 reasons. Maybe I'll have to list them again. But 3 ways I'll be when say something is real. 1. Archaeology. Nipa kuno oba yesi oda ha. Bibi ane yesi oda no yenko hwe say indeed oda ho ana. Oba yesi wo hye atawe bi. Atawe na wo hye no indeed yenko hwe say wo ho ana. Archaeological evidence. Eno inti Kwame Nkrumah obi okoko wo oba one day bi o obaba wana oba eba beka se Kwame Nkrumah yesi wo yese eye no kware ana wo se yenko Kwame Nkrumah museum okọ hwa obehu yesi na taare ni yesi oye aha na eno no behu so okay Yesu Kristo time na photo picture ni ho nti yentwa picture. But aside that, that's the first thing. And there are a lot, there are a lot of evidence archaeological evidence a man existed and a friend Jesus Christ. A lot of accounts from different parts of the world are a corresponding indeed someone existed a friend Jesus Christ. So that one is not a debate. Jesus Christ existed. That's one thing, the first reason how you know that someone existed. Secondly, nepakune numu asem nsemu a wokan ye ni wuechire no nsemu a wokan na egusu ye adwuma na. That is how you know that indeed nepakro no oba ewiase mu, because nsem bia wokan ye na egusu ye adwuma. Love your neighbor as yourself. Nsemu a wo preachi ye de na wo kan tra mansan se wo monye no egusu ye adwuma. Kwame Nkrumah nsemu a wo kan ye egusu ye adwuma. That tells you that indeed the person lived. And the third one, accounts from people who experienced the person. Say evidence be any ho. Na wo bien to me antre. Say oh indeed me hu nipa kro no me hu asemesi me hu we today. Kwame Nkrumah photographer etumi kan ne ho asem. It tells you that indeed Kwame Nkrumah existed. Inti de me kan say omo a wo ne Yesu Kristo enam ye no omo tu kwan omo ne Yesu Kristo enante ye no omo tu kwan ko different countries ekoko ye nyuma bebre wo ho enne ewiase na ye wo no san nyuma ni na they are there and they are evident enough to show that indeed Jesus Christ existed or Jesus Christ existed. I hope this makes sense. Maybe one day, when we learn more, we'll bring to you. But I hope that at this point, you understand. Ebusian for book near that screen is on your friend the Ghanaian investor. Now this book is the most practical guide a better senior be investi e Ghana ha. So we call Amazon now we search for book a better senior be to me investi e Ghana. Book we and address e between pie say the leading book. Now, book we better how to set up an emergency fund. A lot of people don't know, but so to me setting up emergency fund that should be oba benya emergency be say waka say and I say any emergency situation be a wuhie sika biana, the emergency fund will come in and kick it for you. Book we better send your bit to me use systems Ghana ha. Now they are setting up emergency fund no. Book we better send your best setting up an insurance policy. Ya na Ghana for be brain no omum believe in insurance policies. Now so book we the companies, government approved companies omo numbers any bibia beto or atrel insurance policy was say or select abo ejuma e track record. Now say insurance policy no endowment fund. Obianka say kokonya accident, but you need to protect yourself in a sense that ejuma wo ye no ukokonya accident ana boni bi kokoto na untumi nye ejuma krana e was insurance policy no it take care of you and your family. Book we better how to set that thing up e Ghana here. Book we better send you to me I start a personal pension fund. E ya na nkrofo bebre omo be ko pension wi a e ya no mo ko ekrase because omosika sem enye. Now udi book we yechi numbers ebe ma companies ebe ma na wo fresh companies no mo tretre nsem ni so tre no mo tre osika wo say o de to fund demo every single month obe ko pension no na wada ne millionaire so unye millionaire krana obe ko pension no na wada ne millionaire uni how o man be da ne bed na ntu obi aso. Now the last part no and it's a book we better how to invest in the Ghanaian stock exchange. Osikeni bia better say if you really want to build wealth you have to use the stock exchange. Now, Ghana Stock Exchange, one of the best performing stock exchanges in the world currently. Now, se me pese me tretre stock exchange ni mu etrel. Na woti asiye ya. Me assure se wa wutie me no ebia wanom fan yogurt pen. Ebia na wanom Guinness pen. Se wonnom fan yogurt ana wonnom Guinness da krana. Me assure se Unilever we use omo product bi pen. So when you so be that crana, me sure say we the chocolate that. So when the chocolate that crana, me sure say at least where you so be a Ghana commercial bank, where you so be a Eco Bank and a Access Bank. Now all these companies, no, they are listed on the Ghana Stock Exchange. If you invest in them, it means say we are part owner of those companies. Into companies we a bit to say MTN every time we make sika because Ghana for air talk credits, Ghana for air year bundle. Into at the end of the year no, MTN for omo sika na wo make here. Omo share omo ye owners and omo invest in MTN no mo ache sika no na bia ye den aba be so. Into obi biara wa invest in MTN shares bia no ubedi adanse ye se nanse ya 10th April MTN for tua oka ade bia friend dividends. Now dividends no it came as a result of you being a shareholder of MTN. Book we betrell how to invest in those things. Now eno no ebetumi adane o passive income. Wonim say nkrofo use MTN but every year bia no MTN betua oka. A lot of people don't know this. This book is going to teach you all those things. Now say bia one person will be invest in just one company krana ye wade bia ye friend no mutual fund, equity mutual fund. Book we better how to use equity mutual funds. Ebema mutual funds no the best equity mutual fund that we Ghana ha. Omo numbers. Naturally say what from no way to me set yourself up. So wo tie me na wo ba me shrew e wo say wo setting me up with sa book we to book we ema wadanfo to book we ema wo ho. So pe book ni bia to a number na eda eye book ni so no 055 807 4986 fresh a number no ofra book no version ebe boa no ye de bema oye Ghana ni na wa brochure na ope book ni hard copy a eno ane so obekọ Amazon na wa search for the Ghanaian investor eba na wato oto a ye be ship book no e de abro montre mo adwo comment box ni mu.